A cold gust of wind swept across the busy city sidewalk as people rushed past, too absorbed in their own worlds to notice the little girl sitting on the pavement, her knees pulled close to her chest. She wasn't begging or crying, she was drawing. Her small, dirt-streaked hands gripped a broken pencil as she sketched rockets on a crumpled piece of paper. Not just ordinary rockets, but detailed and precise, as if she had seen them in her dreams. A businessman in a suit glanced at her and walked away. A woman with shopping bags hesitated but kept moving. Nobody stopped, nobody cared. Except for one man who stood a few feet away, his sharp eyes fixed on the girl's drawings. He watched the way she shaded the fins, the engines, the boosters. It was incredible. He took a step closer, then another. Finally, he knelt beside her. "Do you love space?" The girl flinched, clutching her paper as if to protect it. No one had ever asked her that before. She looked up. He wasn't like the others. His face seemed familiar, his voice calm and curious. She nodded, barely whispering, "One day I'll build a rocket to Mars." A small smile tugged at the man's lips. He had heard those words before, from himself. In that moment, Elon Musk realized this was no ordinary girl. She was a genius in the making. His eyes scanned her drawings, his mind racing. These weren't simple doodles. The symmetry, the technical precision, the adjustments in the designs. This was the kind of thinking engineers at SpaceX spent years perfecting. But this girl, she was doing it with a half-broken pencil. With a pencil on a torn piece of paper. Sitting on the street, the little girl was deep in her sketches. Musk pointed at one of them, a rocket with carefully shaded thrusters. "What's this part?" he asked. Her eyes lit up. No one had ever asked about her drawings before. She straightened up, suddenly animated. "That's the heat shield," she said, tapping the paper. "Without it, the rocket will burn up during re-entry." Musk raised an eyebrow. "You know about re-entry heat?" The girl nodded confidently. "Yes, that's why I added this." She pointed at tiny vents near the base. They spread the heat away from the capsule. Elon was stunned. How did a little girl sitting on the sidewalk grasp concepts that even some engineers struggled with? His mind flashed back to his own childhood, to the days spent buried in books, dreaming of Mars when everyone thought he was crazy. But this girl had no books, no teachers, no internet, and yet she had figured it out. He glanced at her, amazed. He glanced around at the busy street, wondering how many people had walked past her, how many had ignored this hidden genius, thinking she was just another homeless kid. The thought made his chest tighten. What if no one ever noticed her? What if her talent was lost, buried under the harsh realities of life? He took a deep breath and looked back at her. "What's your name?" She hesitated. People never really asked. Finally, she whispered, "Maya." Elon smiled. "Maya, do you want to see a real rocket?" Her eyes widened. For a moment, she thought he was joking. Then she saw the sincerity in his eyes. He wasn't joking. And just like that, her life was about to change forever. Maya sat frozen, staring at Elon Musk in disbelief. Did he just say what she thought he did? A real rocket? Her heart pounded. No one had ever asked about her dreams before. No one had ever cared. She clutched her drawings tightly, afraid they might disappear. "A real rocket?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Elon nodded. "Yes, I want to show you something." Maya hesitated. She had never been in a car like this before. A sleek black Tesla with doors that opened like the wings of a spaceship. Everything felt unreal, but something deep inside told her to trust him. As the car sped through the city, Maya gripped her paper tighter, the buildings blurring past, but her mind was elsewhere. Was this really happening? Could someone like her actually belong in a world of rockets and space travel? She glanced at Elon. He was typing something quickly on his phone, then turned to her. "Do you know where we're going?" he asked. Maya shook her head. Elon smiled. SpaceX. Her breath caught. She had spent years dreaming about rockets, drawing them, imagining what it would be like to build one. And now, she was going to the very place where the greatest rockets in the world were made. Her hands trembled as she clutched her paper. She couldn't mess this up. When they arrived, Maya's eyes went wide. Giant rockets towered above her. Engineers in sleek jumpsuits worked around her. Models of Mars missions, blueprints, calculations, and screens showing live rocket tests. It was everything she had ever imagined, and more. One of the engineers walked over, glancing at Elon. "Is this her?" he asked. Elon nodded. "Show him your work." Maya's throat tightened. Was this a test? What if they laughed at her? What if they said she wasn't smart enough? Her fingers shook as she unfolded the worn paper. The engineer studied it carefully. A long silence filled the room. Then, he looked at Elon, stunned. "These calculations, this aerodynamics model, where did she learn this?" Elon smiled. "She taught herself." The room fell silent. An 8-year-old homeless girl had figured out advanced rocketry on her own. Maya bit her lip, knowing she wasn't supposed to hope, but in that moment, standing inside SpaceX surrounded by the brightest minds in the world, she finally let herself believe. For the first time in her life, she wasn't just a homeless girl drawing rockets. She was a future engineer. Her fingers gripped her worn-out papers tightly as the SpaceX engineers murmured among themselves, exchanging stunned glances. One of them, a senior designer, looked at Elon, then back at Maya's sketches. "These designs, she's got a natural understanding of aerodynamics. The way she structured these rockets, it's not just doodling. She understands thrust vectors, payload capacity. This is real." Maya's heart pounded. She barely understood half of what he was saying. But she knew one thing. They weren't laughing at her. Elon turned to her, his face unreadable, then smiled. "Maya, how would you like to build rockets for real?" Her breath caught. Elon knelt down so they were eye level. "Not just drawings, not just ideas. I want you to learn, study, and build real rockets." Maya's hand shook. No one had ever believed in her like this. "But I'm just a kid," she whispered. Elon grinned. "So was I when I started dreaming about space, and I had no one to help me. But you've got me." Maya's throat tightened. Was this real? Could this actually happen? One of the engineers leaned in. "Mr. Musk, are you saying?" Elon nodded. "I'm giving her a scholarship, private tutoring, housing, anything she needs. She's going to be the next great aerospace engineer, and she's starting now." Maya gasped. She had spent years surviving on the streets, sleeping in alleyways, drawing rockets on scrap paper, hoping someone, anyone, would see her. And now the richest man in the world had just given her a future. Her eyes filled with tears. I don't know what to say." Elon put a hand on her shoulder. "Say yes." Maya looked around the room, the engineers, the giant rocket models, the blueprint screens, the future she had never dared to imagine. She took a deep breath and then, with all the courage she had, she nodded. "Yes." Elon smiled. The first step had been taken. But neither of them knew yet. This was just the beginning. Maya sat in the front seat of Elon Musk's Tesla, staring out the window in disbelief. Just yesterday, she had been sketching rockets on a torn piece of paper, ignored by the world, and now she was heading toward a future she never thought possible. Elon, seated beside her, glanced over and smiled. "Nervous?" Maya hesitated before nodding. "A little. I don't even know how this works," Maya muttered. Elon chuckled. "Neither did I when I started, but that didn't stop me." The car pulled up to a massive facility, SpaceX headquarters. Glass towers gleamed under the sun, and Maya could see engineers in lab coats walking through the complex, giant posters of rockets, astronauts, and Mars missions lining the walls. Her heart pounded. This was real. This was happening. As they stepped inside, the automatic doors whooshed open, revealing a vast, open workspace. Engineers crowded around a giant rocket prototype, deep in discussion, while screens displayed complex blueprints and real-time footage from a SpaceX launch site. The entire building pulsed with energy. Elon led Maya through the corridors, past laboratories filled with models of spaceships, robots, and high-tech machinery. She couldn't stop staring. This was more than she had ever imagined. Finally, they reached a sleek office with a glass window overlooking a massive rocket assembly area. A woman in a SpaceX uniform stood up and extended a hand. "Maya, welcome to SpaceX. I'm Dr. Carter. I'll be mentoring you." Maya hesitated before shaking her hand. Me? Getting a mentor? Learning from the best in the world? Elon patted her shoulder. "Dr. Carter oversees our engineering training program. You'll start with basic aerospace concepts and work your way up. We'll provide you with a place to live, tutors, and everything you need to study." Maya's hands clenched into fists. "But what if I fail?" Dr. Carter smiled. "Every great scientist has failed 1,000 times before they succeeded. The important part is that you try." Elon nodded. "You've already done something most people never even attempt. Never did you dare to dream. Now let's make that dream real," Elon said. Maya took a deep breath, staring at the blueprint on Dr. Carter's desk. It was a detailed model of a Mars rocket. She reached forward and traced her fingers over the sleek design. This was it. This was her chance. No more hunger, no more sleeping on sidewalks, no more drawing rockets on scrap paper hoping someone would notice. She looked up at Elon and Dr. Carter and gave a determined nod. "Okay, let's do this." As she spoke, in the distance, the sound of a rocket engine igniting filled the air. A SpaceX launch was underway. It felt almost symbolic. Maya's life was about to take off. She thought she understood hard work. She had spent years surviving on the streets, figuring out ways to stay warm, scavenge for food, and protect herself. But nothing compared to the challenge she faced at SpaceX. From the very first day, she realized just how much more it would take. This wasn't just about dreams. It was about discipline. Dr. Carter handed her a thick textbook filled with equations she didn't understand: aerodynamics, propulsion systems, orbital mechanics. "You need to learn all of this." Maya's head spun. "But I don't even know algebra." Dr. Carter smiled. "Then we start from there." The days turned into a brutal cycle. Wake up at dawn, study equations, solve physics problems, attend engineering lessons, work with real SpaceX engineers, sleep, repeat. Maya's brain ached from numbers, concepts, and calculations she had never encountered before. She failed again and again. One night, she stared at a simple force equation on the board, but the answer wouldn't come. Frustrated, she slammed her notebook shut. "I can't do this." Elon, who had just walked in, sat across from her. "You think this is hard?" Maya nodded. "I've never felt this lost before." Elon leaned forward. "Good. That means you're learning." Maya looked up, confused. He continued. "I failed so many times when I started. SpaceX rockets exploded, investors left. People called me crazy. But failure is the cost of greatness. The only way you lose is if you give up." Maya swallowed hard. He was right. And so she pushed forward. She studied deep into the night, writing equations over and over until they made sense. She asked a million questions, refusing to quit. Weeks turned into months, and slowly the concepts became clearer. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was building something. Then came the ultimate test. Dr. Carter handed Maya a blueprint design for a basic rocket model. If it works in simulation, you pass. If it doesn't, you start over. Maya's heart raced. Her hands trembled as she took the blueprint. This was it. She worked for 16 hours straight, sketching, calculating, testing. Her first model failed, then her second, then her third. Doubt crept in. Maybe she didn't belong here. Maybe she was just a street kid playing scientist. But then she remembered the little girl sitting on the sidewalk, sketching rockets. That girl didn't give up. With renewed determination, Maya adjusted her design, recalculated the fuel ratios, and launched the simulation. The virtual rocket lifted off and the room erupted in cheers. She had done it. Maya stared at the screen in disbelief. She had built a rocket, and for the first time in her life, she realized she was never going back to the streets. She couldn't believe it. She had passed the hardest test of her life, but deep inside, she knew this was just the beginning. Inside, she knew this was just the beginning. SpaceX wasn't just about designing rockets. It was about launching them. One evening, as Maya was reviewing her blueprints, an email popped up on her screen. Subject: Special Project Invitation. Her heart pounded as she clicked it open. Maya, you've been selected to work on a real launch mission. Report to Hangar 2 tomorrow morning. Her hands shook. A real mission. After everything she had been through, it was finally happening. The next morning, she arrived at Hangar 2, where actual SpaceX engineers were gathered around a large metal structure, a rocket prototype in development. Elon Musk himself was there. He glanced at her and smiled. Ready for your biggest challenge yet? Maya swallowed her nerves and nodded. The task: design a critical component for the rocket stability system. The team lead, a seasoned engineer named Sarah, explained. The problem is our current stabilizers aren't optimized for high-altitude turbulence. We need a new design, fast, Sarah explained. Maya studied the equations on the whiteboard, her mind racing. This was way beyond anything she had worked on before. Sarah noticed her hesitation. If it's too much, we can assign it to someone else. Maya clenched her fists. No, I can do this. She spent the next 4 days and nights buried in calculations, redesigning stabilizers, testing simulations, and making adjustments. Each time something failed, she refused to give up. On the 5th day, she presented her final design. Sarah reviewed it, then turned to Elon. This could actually work. Maya held her breath as Elon studied the blueprints. After a long pause, he nodded. Let's build it. And just like that, Maya's design became part of an actual mission. Weeks later, Maya stood on the SpaceX viewing platform, watching as the countdown began. 10, 9, 8. She gripped the railing, her heart hammering. 7, 6, 5. This was it. 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. The engines roared to life, fire and smoke billowing as the rocket lifted off. Her stabilizer, her work, was now part of that machine, cutting through the sky. Tears filled her eyes. From drawing rockets on the sidewalk to launching one into space, she had made it. Elon turned to her. You belong here, Maya. And for the first time in her life, she truly believed it. As Maya stood there, watching the rocket disappear into the sky, she felt something she had never felt before. Complete certainty that she was exactly where she was meant to be. Elon Musk placed a hand on her shoulder. This is just the beginning. Maya smiled, wiping a tear from her cheek. I know. The little girl who once sketched rockets on scraps of paper had now designed a piece of technology soaring through the atmosphere. Her journey wasn't over. It was just getting started. Somewhere in another city, on another street, maybe another, little girl was drawing rockets on the sidewalk, dreaming just like Maya once did. And Maya, she was ready to help her reach the stars.